Hi everybody, it's April, and today I want to talk about why we're eliminating dairy and grains, or why you may want to consider that for even longer than the 21-day challenge. And listen, not everybody has to live dairy and grain free, but even cutting down the amount that you're typically eating, if you think about how many servings you probably ate in a day of both grains and dairy, you'd probably be shocked if you actually started adding it up. And there's so many different health benefits, but I'm not telling you need to go paleo or something like that. But there are benefits that it's important to know what the reasons are why we do this, at least in the beginning. And the largest reason when people follow TLS is they're looking for health benefits and they're looking to lose weight. So clearly anything that's going to increase inflammation in your system, we're going to try to eliminate. And that's why grains and dairy, being so highly inflammatory, are one of those reasons that we do that. So we do see that people sleep better. We do see that their skin clears up. We do see decreased inflammation, so pain in joints and things of that nature certainly do subside so much faster. And we do see that weight drops off. You're going to get the fastest results ever if you do eliminate them. That said, there's some other scientific reasons behind it, so I do have some notes in front of me, but I want to make sure that I hit all the points in a really short video for you. Let's start with dairy. About 70% of people are lactose or casein intolerant, lactose being the sugar in dairy and casein being one of the proteins like whey, which are all actually dairy based. And so understanding what that is doesn't mean you can't live with eating dairy, but a lot of the discomfort that you may feel could be because of that or from the grains, or you may be getting headaches. You might, like I said earlier, be getting some skin breakouts or other kind of issues that you don't realize are connected to the dairy, but they very well may be. And in the pasteurization process, while that was so incredibly helpful in its day, actually denatures the proteins that are in dairy. So while it might have had some immune boosting properties for a calf, let's say, it certainly doesn't for us anymore. Now, switching to things like coconut milk, almond milk, certainly give you a more plant, based type of milk if you do want to keep milk in your diet. But if you really wanted to go with something else that was more like traditional milk, goat's milk is probably closest to what we would be drinking. So in our house, we don't drink soy. We just drink coconut, almond, and or rice milk that are all unsweetened. So you can, try those out maybe during this 21-day challenge and see how you feel about it. It would probably surprise some people to know that you'd have stronger bones without drinking milk or having dairy products, but you'll notice that the 3 a day or the milk it does your body good commercials aren't on any longer. And that's because there's too much strong research that that's not the case. So as a matter of fact, when we do drink, milk and have dairy products, while the calcium on the label may seem high, it's actually highly inabsorbable for your body. A better source of that is going to be dark green vegetables, green vegetables, and beans and legumes and nuts and some meats and things like that. For calcium is going to be a higher absorbable amount. And then you've got decreased exposure to hormones and antibiotics by eliminating dairy. Certainly if you go organic, that's going to help, but there's always, what is the actual animal eating, that maybe if they're not adding hormones or antibiotics, you're still going to be getting some hormones that are within the animal itself. So we're not like a meat-free house by any means, but by cutting out other sources where we could be getting other toxins and hormones and antibiotics in our diet, certainly we're all a whole lot healthier for it. Then you've got some links to autoimmune issues. You've got quicker healing when you eliminate dairy, and a lot of studies are showing a decreased risk for cancers, which is nothing to take lightly because 1 in every 3 people now will be diagnosed with some type of cancer. The best research for dairy really links to cervical and prostate cancer, but any kind of elimination you can do that's not going to kick in autoimmune reactions or is going to keep inflammation low is always going to help in that way. Then you look at grains, and 80% of people in certain studies have showed that they have a leaky gut scenario, which is really from the lectins that are associated with the grains, that when you're combating your body with these grains that are very hard to digest over the course of time, it's really not how your ancestors ate at all. And so, they ate fresh vegetables and fruits and grass-fed beef and things like that when they could. It was only in famine time that they would go to wheat. So wheat brings up the other issue of gluten, which is the protein in wheat, barley, and rye, and some oats, which are contaminated in some ways, but oats shouldn't actually have gluten in them, but a lot of them do in this country. And the fact that so many of our grains are genetically modified, they don't even mimic what their genetic, predecessors looked like anymore. So how your body is able to break that down and handle it over time actually rips holes in the lining of your GI and can create a leaky gut scenario, which you may not even be aware of that you have, but there's just a huge percentage of the population we're seeing through studies that do have this. And I can tell you firsthand from myself and from clients over the course of the years that have experienced this, which then again also can kick autoimmune issues, make your thyroid be altered in terms of how it responds, and you can have a whole host of other symptoms that you might think are unrelated, but are actually really due to the food. So the elimination of those things is a good start, and that's where we're getting to, but that's why we also support you nutritionally, because it's typically not enough just to remove these things. As a great case in point, a lot of people who have been diagnosed as either gluten sensitive, gluten intolerant, or even celiac can eliminate gluten from their diet, but there's foods like dairy, quinoa, corn that can actually cross-react, meaning that the genetic structure of them mimics so closely to what gluten is that their body is cross-reacting to those foods. And if you're one of those people that has a leaky gut scenario, you can develop food sensitivities because your body is hyper-reacting to a lot of different kinds of foods. Also, one last thing to note about grains is that your blood sugar can increase quite a bit with the use of grains. So we talked in the beginning about the volume of food you can eat with TLS is so much higher, because 3 handfuls of spinach could be like a half to a serving of bread. And so the volume in which you get to eat foods that are actually nutritious for you is so much greater, but that they actually say, like, let's say you know somebody who's diabetic, 2 slices of bread can raise your blood sugar as if you just ate a tablespoon of sugar. And so that's something to consider. And we're looking at keeping your blood sugar stable, not just for cravings and energy and weight loss, but also when you keep your blood sugar stable, just the health benefits for your heart health, cholesterol, A1C, like leaning yourself towards diabetes, are going to be greatly reduced. So I hope this helps you guys, and we're not just torturing you for nothing, but there's some reasons, and you're going to feel so much better eliminating grains and dairy this week.